everyone. Today we're going to be designing comic strips. So you should have a template in your box, 1 or 2 templates, and some spare paper for planning. But basically we're going to be designing our own character or characters and coming up with a storyline. And then we're going to use the different size boxes to fill up with pictures and writing, or it can be both. And yeah, we're going to create a story which should be really fun. I did my story based on a friend, Chloe, which some of you might know from the live stream. She's been in a couple of them, especially the talent show. She loves the talent show. And she's been in a few of some collaborative videos together, which you should look out for. But you can base it off a real person, you can base it off a celebrity, you can base it off someone that you've made up in your head. It's absolutely fine, and I think it's really fun to design a character and design what they're wearing, what they're going to be doing in the plot. Okay, so let's get started. To start off, I did a quick plan on a spare piece of paper. You should have a couple of spare pieces of paper in your box. And I was having an idea about planning my character. I kind of wanted to do something nature-based. I've been really enjoying being outside in the garden recently. So I was thinking of doing a gardener with flower superpowers. But then I thought about my friend Chloe, which you might have seen in other videos and on live streams. And she basically saved a snail in her garden whose shell was cracked. She's named the snail Claude. It's a whole thing. She's been looking after Claude and helping him get healthy so he can grow his shell back in its full form. So I thought that was kind of like a superpower thing that she did. She's kind of like a superhero in that way. She's saving insects and animals. So that was my idea for the comic. So I kind of tried to draw in cartoon form. You can't quite see it fully because the video cut it off a little bit, but I just simplified some of her features, so it was easy to draw again and again in each bit. And then, so I did sort of what she'd be wearing type thing. I'm afraid you can't see it here. I'm sorry. But I'd sort of planned out her clothes and what she'd be wearing and that kind of stuff. And I definitely think writing down a few adjectives, so describing words about your character, is helpful when you're designing a character, especially if it's not based off someone you know. If it's based on your imagination, if you're just creating a character, definitely planning out their personality, what they look like, if they are younger, older, figure out, their favourite colour might be on their clothes, or just different bits about them. So here I am. I know you will have a template in your box. You should have a couple of templates, I think. But I didn't have a template to hand. My printer broke. So I drew out a template. So it's not going to be as good as yours, but I just made it work. So the first one I have has a speech bubble in it. Some of yours might have speech bubbles or sort of those bubbles that are spiky when something exciting or scary happens, sort of to represent emotion. So I just drew my own in. And then I'm trying to decide her outfit. I decided on doing a t-shirt that says I love snails because it's very Chloe. She wears a lot of t-shirts and she does love snails. And that is the main part of the story about her saving Claude. So just drawing out the main body. Your cartoon does not have to be about a human. It can be about a pet. It can be about an animal. It can be about a superhero. It can be about anything. But I obviously chose Chloe. So I'm just drawing a face. For cartoon, comic strips, you can do loads of different styles. You can make it more realistic, make it more cartoony. You can really decide the style that you're going for, which drawing style you sort of feel more comfortable drawing in. I went sort of cartoony but quite realistic.
So I'm just sketching it out in pencil. So I figured that she'd be out in the garden because she's finding the snail. So I'm drawing a garden scene behind her. Did some flowers. You can set yours wherever you want. You could do it in the city, you could do it in a beach, you could do it out of space, underwater, literally anywhere. And I think the backgrounds can be really fun to design as well. You can put as much detail in as you want, or you could just do like blocks of colour as the background. So the speech bit that I put to start with, it is such a lovely day today. So that's what she's saying at the start before she finds the snail in her garden. So the next bit, I am just drawing her gardening and tending to some plants, because this is when she's going to find Claude. I also think it's cool that the boxes on your page might be different sizes, different shapes, and I think that's definitely cool because it makes you consider sort of the space you need to take up. So sometimes the bigger boxes will be more like landscape, or they'll be close-ups, like more really important parts of the story. So it's definitely interesting to think about the amount of space you have on the page per little bit of the story, and how you're going to sort of spread out the storyline across that. So the next one is going to be revealing Claude the snail, the main character. Sorry, Chloe. So you can see Claude with their broken shell, and then I'm just drawing Chloe with a shocked face. So we're doing a little thought bubble for Claude. I love thought bubbles in comics because I think it's a really cool way to tell a story. It's kind of like in a story when they do first person and like you can see inside someone's thoughts and head. And I really like that about comics because it's done in a really cool, simple way. So underneath, I am doing, I think this should be Claude's dinner? Lunch with Chloe? Yeah, should be. You'll be able to see it in a minute. So it took me quite a while to do the comic, like base sketching, but it's definitely worth sketching out if you can. Oh, this is the bit where she says I need to help him. Yeah, got it. So there's going to be a bit where Claude is being given a bath as well, which you'll see. Then I started adding some colour, so went for bright green. I definitely think bright colours look really cool on comics. So whether you're using bright or like coloured pencils or coloured markers, or even if you have some highlighters lying around. I know you'll have markers or pencils, but if you have highlighters as well, that would definitely be a really fun way to add a pop of colour. So yeah, I added some bright green and then just like sort of started working on the background. So then I add some depth with a darker green to sort of give it a bit of texture. I definitely think adding like different shades is also helpful, like so it's less 2D, makes it more realistic and 3D, but that's also completely up to you. If you wanted to make it less realistic and more cartoony, you could definitely go for like thick black lines around stuff. So yeah, it's really up to you with the kind of style you want to go for. Starting to draw the plants. So I'm doing the tree as well with the darker green. And then going with the lighter green on top. So I'm just sort of doing the natural imagery, but as I said, you could do any setting that you wanted. Start. So here I am just adding texture like I said, and then I'm going to carry on colouring in. I definitely think sometimes if you're wanting to do similar bits on different pieces of the comic, like if you wanted to colour in all the trees, I would do that at once, just because I sometimes forget how I did it or which colours I used. So here I'm doing a background. I wasn't going to do all of the background coloured in, but you can definitely do that. So I just went for like a squiggly type zigzag thing, which we're going to pretend that looks, I'm not sure how I'm feeling about the background, but I feel like it becomes less of a focus when your characters are all drawn out and coloured in. So here I'm starting to do the sunshine. I wanted to add a pop of colour there. So I'm going in with yellow and orange. Also, something cool you could do with comics is you don't have to do the colours that would be in real life. You could do a pink sun, you could do purple trees, you could do whatever colours that you wanted. That could also be a really fun way of doing it. So I went in with the yellow marker. Looks really nice and bright, especially with the blue above and the green. I really like it. It's definitely worth thinking about how the colours interact. The colours you're putting down on the page and also the backgrounds that will be next to each other, and sort of how they contrast. So now I've started to add to Claude's shell. As I said, you don't always have to do the colour that the thing is in real life. So I went for a pink shell for Claude just because why not? And I was feeling it. So that's what I did for Claude. And then I did a purple body. I also did the big crack in Claude because Claude's shell was broken when Chloe found them. It's very sad. So yeah, that I kind of made the broken shell stand out in the picture. So I'm adding on the purple body and a sad face. Just sort of giving some definition and outlining. And then I'm going in with green again to do the plants. And as you can see, it's sort of like a close-up, which is why I used the bigger frame for this one, because Claude is a main character and I feel like they deserved a whole frame. So that's what I gave them, and yeah, that's what I went for in this. And it was nice to do like a proper close-up for this bit. So I went in with pink flowers. Thought it looked good with the pink background that's coming up on the next bit. Also, another cool thing you could do it mostly in black and white outlines and then just colour in little bits of it to make bits stand out in each scene. I definitely think that would be a really cool idea. I didn't think about that when I was doing my comic, but that would be really cool. So I'm doing the background because Claude would have been in the leaves and the trees. So yes, that is where they are. So there's Claude already, and that is what it's looking like so far. Then I'm just adding some more colours in, colouring in the different natural imagery, like the trees and the plants. And then I'm going to also show some bits that were off camera at this point, with Chloe and Claude and just different bits. And then I'm colouring in Chloe washing Claude, giving them a nice bath. And yeah, it's a fact I didn't know. Chloe let me know that snails actually really like water. And one of the things Chloe did was she fed Claude lots of food that they liked, gave them baths, and yeah, sort of let them grow strong because their shell was broken, so they needed some energy and some looking after. So that's what I'm doing. Chloe and Claude in this scene with Chloe washing Claude. Now just outlining some of Chloe's features in a thin black pen. You can also use the black pen or any markers to write. You can leave, like, if you want to section off a little bit of each square to have some writing, if you want it to be more of like a story comic book with words, definitely go for that. So here I'm just colouring in Chloe, colouring in her hair as well. Kind of fun to do comic strips about people you know, just because it's kind of fun to make them into comic book characters, but also it's equally fun to imagine superheroes or different characters and people you've never met. So I'm just adding some definition, and then I'm also doing the rest of Chloe's hair. Like I said, I kind of tend to do bits in sections, so I'll do like all of Chloe's face and hair and outfit all in one in all the different frames. So then I'm starting to go in with a black pen and outlining. As I said, that makes it sometimes look more cartoony especially with the way I draw. So that's what I went for. And I definitely think it makes it stand out more, because the backgrounds are quite detailed, they have a lot going on. So you definitely want the main focuses of each scene to stand out. Also, I kind of like how Chloe and Claude are different sizes in each scene, in each slide. I just like that. I think it gives it like a varied look, rather than keeping them the same size in each frame.
Hi everyone, so we have done the comic strip video and I really hope you love what you've created during this video. My comic strip took ages to make, so I completely understand if you want to take some more time after the video. I would love for you to send your final comic strip to Mary at Camp Morty to share it with us, or tag us on an Instagram post at Camp Morty. Obviously you don't have to share it, but it would be really cool to see what people have created. And yes, I will quickly show you the one that I did, which, as you know, it's about Chloe finding her pet snail in the garden, which she's looked after because it had a broken shell. So I kind of made up a little plot that was based on real life, but yours can be made up of anything. It can be something inspired by something that's happened to you or someone else, or it can be completely made up, or it can be about superhero. It can be about anything. So I really like to make mine colourful, but that's completely up to you. And I've got these little speech bubbles, but also I could have written some extra bits in. So as I did, I sort of labelled stuff. So that is my final one, and I'm really excited to see yours if you want to share it. And I hope you have a lovely rest of the day, and I'll see you in the next video.